Hey, what's up, guys? Alright, videos are coming in again, as promised. Quick announcement before we start this video. I made a promise that I was going to re upload my video on my time in the 101, and I'm sorry to say this, but I decided not to, and here's why. I watched it, though I originally didn't put in what I wanted. I watched it, I hit the key points that were important, and I gave a solution, and frankly, it'd be beating a dead horse to make another one about it. However, as promised, I will be making videos of my experiences there, as you know, different videos I'll be making are going to involve experiences in my military career, and that's part of that. But alright, let's get into it. So, we're going to be going over my entire behavior health experience from the time I joined in the military back in 2017 all the way to my discharge in 2024. All right, let's get into it. So, when I joined the Army, things were all right. When I went to Fort Benning, Georgia, now Fort Moore, Georgia, I started having breathing issues. I was running like a 14-minute 2 mile. First 2 mile, when I got to Fort Moore, Fort Benning at the time, on the PT test, I ran a 17-minute 57 2 mile. I couldn't fucking believe it. I'm like, what's going on? Now, there was hope, though. After 3 weeks of being in basic training, our next PT test, my 2 mile went to 16:57. Still impressive, but I was still a bit off from passing, and people were doubting me. Then I went to sick call, got on some meds, you know. Final PT test for the basic training portion of OSUT. 14 minutes and 15 seconds. People were like, well, I told you guys I could run. I just was fucked up. I thought maybe I had like a respiratory infection or something, because that's very common, especially during that time of year at Fort Benning, because I went there in July. Or maybe not the time of year, but you know, the moldy barracks and being around a bunch of people constantly. So I'll go to airborne school. Airborne school wasn't bad. My run time was good there too. Passed airborne school, and then I got orders to Fort Bragg, and then went off to Fort Bragg. Started having breathing problems again. Went through reception, AIC, and then I went to my first unit. Failed my first PT test. My run time went to shit, and I was like, oh my god. And my leadership at the time, I went to the field. I did good in the field. First field event I did there was a company live fire. Apparently my team leader said I did very good in live fires. And apparently, I don't know for fact, this is from a source that may not be credible. This dude was drinking with me. He was a senior specialist. I was a PV2. He said, dude, you got recommended for an AAM. I didn't know. But apparently somewhere it was shot down. Obviously I didn't get that AAM. But still though, I don't think I deserved one. I was new and I definitely had points to improve on. But, well, alright. So there I already proved to myself, in my opinion, that I had skill. But I did have faults I needed to work on, and I knew that as a 19-year-old PV2. We got a new platoon sergeant who was a fucking psychopath. I would get it if I got in a gunfight. There's no one else I'm taking but that man. Don't get me wrong, but he was a fucking psychopath, and anybody that was in Brutal Company 2 Fury knows who I'm talking about. We were going on. He didn't like our 2 mile time, so we were running every day, and I was falling out a lot of those runs. And there were points at times where I was just not breathing right. I would get to points where, and this isn't even on runs, this is just like throughout the day. I'm always tired, I'm always falling asleep, and I thought, am I not getting enough sleep? I couldn't breathe. And then 2018, we had a field event. It was Brigade FTX. And I almost got hospitalized. So I thought, whoa, why can't I breathe? We were doing a platoon attack. We were chasing the motherfuckers down. I was having fun, but I was a saw gunner, and I'm like, why am I not breathing right? What the fuck's going on? So I said, all right, because back then, like, I did not want to go to sick call and get pulled out the field because, without a doubt, if you were a new private and you were already seeking medical help, you were seen as a bitch, and I didn't want that. Fortunately, though, I was like, all right, worst case scenario, they say I'm fine, I'm just being a bitch, and I get back to the field, but I gotta know what's wrong with me. Why am I not breathing right? And my skin, as you guys can see, I'm not tan. I'm a little tan, but I was pale white. And yes, it was cold, but no, I was pale. Like, medics came up to me and put a SpO2 heart monitor on my finger, and my SpO2 was 88. They took me to an FLA, gave me some oxygen, I was good. And for the rest of the FTX, I was left over. I just kind of moved around, did details. When we get back, dude started spreading rumors. You're milking stuff to get out the field. You're weak. You're milking stuff to get out the field. And I'm just like, no, I wanted to be there, but at the same time, my health was on the line, and I just wasn't doing good. And I had a shitty squad leader. He was a terrible line squad leader. Fucking terrible. And he was always getting inside my head. And people told me that, like, that dude was always getting inside your head. And I'm like, true, at that time. And I, one day, I had enough. My team leader, my current team leader at that time was a retard. I hated him so fucking much. He was always getting in my head. My squad leader was trash. And then I'm thinking, if I go to behavioral health, they're just going to kick me out anyway. Because that's the mentality, at least back then. You go to behavioral health, it's going to ruin your career forever. And I said, you know what? I can't take this anymore. So I took a K-bar knife I had at that time. And, let's see here. I'm not going to show you, but I have a scar going like this across my left arm. I look at it sometimes, I go, man, that was stupid. That was unnecessary. And I stopped myself. I did bleed a little bit, but it was a surface cut. I went, whoa, whoa, whoa. Reality hit me. I'm like, no. This is unhealthy. I'm harming myself. Shit. And then I called my team and said, hey, I really need to see the chaplain. So he kind of knew what was going on. He ran in my room. There was a bit of blood on the floor, and I covered it up with my foot. And, you know, squad leader came in, and he's like, no, he's fine. You're fine, right? Do you need to? I'm like, no, you're fine. And all this stuff. Then a couple months go by, and, you know, the wound was a surface cut, right? I just covered it up, kept it clean. Just Band-Aid and it'd be good. One day, my team leader, let me tell you how retarded this man was. He would show you how to do something, and when you did it the way he told you, he would say, that's how I fucking told you. So, one of those things happened. We were doing some CLS training, because he liked to do CLS Monday, he called it. And I'm doing some CLS training, and then he just pulled me aside. And at this time, he tried to fight me, because he signed out the wrong nods from the arms room, the wrong night vision device. And the other NCO said that I was going to smoke my team leader to teach him a lesson, and when I did, he tried to fight me. So another dude smoked him instead. So I was already steaming about that situation, and then this happened. And I said, you know what, I fucking hate you, I'm fucking tired of your shit, trying to fucking kill myself, you fucking... Yeah, I said that word, tried to fucking kill myself, and he went, what? And I went, ah, shit. Already I knew it was going to happen. So they take me to the behavioral health clinic, the Robinson Behavioral Health Clinic, the legendary Robinson Behavioral Health Clinic. And I just decided to be honest. All the questions, answered them all. Yes, I want to die. I'm fucking tired of this shit. So I go to the hospital, and, you know, they were running tests on me, and they're like, okay, dude, what's up with your breathing? I said, that's what I keep saying. And, you know, I did good. I was in 6 out for 3 days, and then they discharged me. And then I went to, started going to behavioral health in West Bragg, which is now known as West Liberty. Great clinic. It was actually right across from Two Fury, So I could literally just walk there. I didn't even need a ride. It was great. And my therapist was a wonderful person. She's like, yeah, I understand. This job can suck at times. There's nothing wrong with coming here and talking to me. And it made me realize, wow, this program's here to help me. Because there was no talks of med boarding me, chaptering me out with a fight. There was none of that. It was, let's help you. And I thought, wow, this is way different than I thought. And then at this time, they moved me to HQ platoon, which I was grateful for. Like, the platoon I was with was notorious, and frankly, I wanted out. I wanted out. I didn't want to be part of that platoon anymore. Fuck them. So I go to the hospital and I see a pulmonologist and we run tests and find out I have asthma. And I was formally diagnosed with it. I'm like, how could this have happened? You know, I was fine a year ago training up for the military. And he said, it happens a lot when people move down here. I guess my body reacted to the different allergens that are in Fort Bragg. Believe it or not, there are a lot of people that come down and it happens to them. When he diagnosed me with asthma, I'm like, fuck, man. I'm getting med boarded. Oh my! And he's like, hey, dude, what? I'm a veteran. I was an officer. I was enlisted when green to gold, and I had asthma. I'm like, you have asthma? Yeah, I served 24 years in the Army. Didn't stop me from going to any of my schools. Didn't stop me from going green to gold. Well, we're going to get you on the treatment plan, but here's how it works. You have to prove that you can wear a pro mask for 2 hours and pass a PT test. Particularly the run event, because that's usually what affects people with asthma, but you still got to pass all 3 events back when it was the APFT. And I went, okay. So I started training myself, and my team leader, both of us were on behavioral health profiles. We both moved to HQ platoon. One of the best team leaders I ever had. And we were headquarter bitches, and he was way better than my previous team leader. Great mentor of mine. So in the cough, I put on a pro mask and wore it for 2 hours. And I'm like, you saw that? Yep, okay. You can wear a pro mask for 2 hours. That was more or less word of mouth, but in CBRN, as long as you can wear a pro mask for 2 continuous hours without puffing and inhaling it, the Army doesn't care. Because realistically, you're not living in CBRN. You're not living in CBRN equipment. You don't want to do that. You're in for 2 hours and you're trying to get out of there. That's what CBRN equipment is designed for, from what I understand. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments below. I went back to the hospital with my PT scorecard. I ran a 14-minute and 0.42 mile. He looked at it and went, okay, you're good. So he put me on a P2 profile. He said, you're fine to serve in the Army. And never stopped me from re-enlisting. None of that. Didn't stop me at all. And I was good. I was on medications. And to this day, I'm still on asthma medications. However, while I was there, some dudes from 1st Platoon were getting in my head. They're like, yeah, you see that shitbag? And there was a shitbag in HQ Platoon with me who was getting chaptered out. But his and my situation was different. I had some problems. He was a shitbag. He was a terrible soldier. And he refused to admit that there was something wrong with him. And he wanted out. He also wanted out. So I was going to the chaplain. The chaplain was really helping me. And he said, all right, some E4 with 2 or 3 years in the Army, no, don't listen to him. You don't know if you're getting med boarded or chaptered or none of that. That's not how the Army works. Because the chaplain was also prior enlisted. He was a fucking, if I'm not mistaken, he was an E7 at one point in his career before he went the chaplain route. And I went, okay, I'm going to listen to this guy. And he was right. I knew behavior health was great. I love my therapist. She was great. But maybe I let that dude get inside my head. Maybe I thought there were dudes that were watching me like, that guy's a pussy because he's going to see behavior health. Hey, if you're one of those guys that are in the military that sits down and talks shit about a guy solely because he's going to behavior health, not because he sucks as a soldier or because he sucks at his job, just because you think he's weak for seeking mental help, you're a fucking pussy. And you probably need to go to behavioral health yourself. And that's a message to anyone going to behavioral health. Remember that if you ever get that type of mentality or treatment from people doing that. And on the offhand, if you're a behavioral health private going to behavioral health solely to get out of work, you're a pussy too. You're taking an appointment away from somebody that needs it. Fuck you. So there's two sides to that. Remember that, guys. That's key. I saw both when I went to behavioral health myself. And if you ever go to those group therapy sessions, or even if you have to get admitted, like I have, you'll see that too. So there's two sides. So as soon as I got off my behavioral health profile, I really thought, she's like, you're more than welcome to come back. You can just come for sessions. At the time, I was young. I think I was 19, 20-year-old PFC. I was like, I don't want to come back to behavioral health. She's like, it's fine. It's up to you. And because of these irrational thought, oh, they're going to hate me. So I thought if I just stayed away from behavioral health, I wouldn't get fucked with. So I avoided BH for 3 years. 3 years I completely avoided BH. Went to the field and was pulled into 2nd Platoon, BCO, which I might do a video on 2nd Platoon because those boys are near and dear to my heart. I love those guys. Proved myself to my platoon, to the platoon sergeant there. He said, yeah, I'll take him. First sergeant was also willing to help me. He's like, you're going to this platoon. Hey, you off your profile? I'm like, yes, I'm off my profile. You need to see paperwork? He said, nope. Hey, Sergeant First Class, this is your new soldier going to this platoon. And they put me in weapons squad. God, I hit the ground running. I love that fucking platoon. Within like a week of being in that platoon, I got my first AAM. And I was like, wow. As a PFC, I got my first AAM with that platoon. However, I was having fun. I was succeeding. I was at an up. I was on the high of the roller coaster of the Army. And all the personal issues I had at that time, I guess, they weren't affecting me then. But I repressed them. I was so used to repressing stuff that, like, I don't know, man. Sometimes the shit would hit me and I didn't understand why it was hitting me. But for 3 years, I just rocked and rolled with the platoon. Things were going alright. 2019, I got wavered to specialist. I was like, whoa. I got the 20 months. It was an 18-month waiver, but I got it at 20 months. I was promoted 4 months early to specialist. So I was on a high horse, man. I was having fun. I was like, am I going to be a team leader soon? Am I going to work my way up that? What's going on? So I was on a really good uphill motion, right? And then after we got out of JRT, we got some new guys. One of them was my roommate. Great dude. His name was Urankashi Arangwa. Dude was so good. We were just having fun. He came from SWIC. He was an 18 X-ray Special Forces candidate, and he, he did his thing. He was a good dude, but he had problems. So he wasn't used to how the regular Army does things. Some days we stayed late as fuck. Some days we got off, and we had a new PL who was a fucking faggot. He was a fucking faggot. Went from the best platoon leader I ever had to this fucking faggot. He kept us for a week straight. This platoon leader, after we were done with tasks, would make up an op order and give us the op order and keep us there till like fucking 1900. Every day. And Arangwa had his personal issues, and that just wasn't helping him at all. It was making him worse. And I started noticing it because I was his roommate, right? And he kept asking me if he wanted to hang out. And at that time, I was really introverted. Looking back now, I definitely needed more help because I thought I was a burden on people, and that if I hung around people, I don't know, I just kind of killed the vibe. That's how I thought. And I regret this because maybe he was asking for help because we had a weekend. He said, dude, I'm gonna go out here and do this. You want to go out with me? I said, nah, man, I'm good. I thought at that time if I went out with him, I would have killed the vibe. But maybe, looking back now, maybe he was asking for help. Like he wanted somebody to be with him to maybe stop him from doing something. Could that be true? Maybe. I don't know. And I shouldn't really dwell on that too much. But he didn't come back. It was Monday morning and he didn't come back. I said, where is he? So I didn't think anything of it. I went to work. I remember texting him and I'm like, where's he at? No answer. As we're walking in, my old roommate who got married, so we were still talking, he came up and was like, hey dude. I'm like, what's up? He's like, Choker, man, you know there's a suicide in the company? And I went, oh god, no. And then a dude who went to SWIC with him said, hey man, it was Arangua that killed himself. And I shot it. What? He said, keep your fucking voice down. I'm not supposed to tell you that. And I just repressed it hard in that moment. So we went on a platoon run, and our new platoon sergeant took us, let's see, we went down our dens toward where the current 1st Brigade barracks is now, in front of they were, I believe, 1 Fury's barracks by 3rd Brigade, but where the 1st Brigade barracks are now, or the 1st Brigade DFAC, my bad, is now. And he pulled us aside and told us what happened. My roommate went to a hotel. He had previously gone to PSYOP selection, and apparently he told people that if he didn't get selected, he was going to kill himself. And he didn't get selected, so he went to a hotel. He got a canister of CO2, connected a hose to a plastic bag, and put the bag over his head. And he asphyxiated himself to death. And he was found in his closet like Sunday morning. And Chazan said we're gonna have a service. Know this, he's gone and he's never coming back again. And I was really fucked up from that. I blamed myself. I was one of the last people to see that motherfucker alive. I remember him, and I looked back, I was like, holy shit. I looked at him, and I realized maybe he was crying out for help, and I blamed myself for that. But luckily, the platoon supported me. I was in a really good platoon at that time. 2nd platoon really was there for me. And Weapons Squad was hurt by that. Like, remember one night we were all drinking on the balcony just talking about him, how much we missed him and shit, and what was really fucked up is staff duty came in and I had to help staff duty take his personal stuff that was in our kitchen in the bathroom and put it in his room. And then, oh god, his mother came and had to clean up all his stuff and take it out. What was fucked up is when they opened the door to his room, his bed was halfway opened. It was like he was coming back to, I don't know, make his bed or something. And I don't know, man. That just fucked me up. So, should I have gone to behavioral health and talked about that? Oh, definitely. But remember my mentality at that time. I was just like, it's going to affect your career, it's going to affect your career, because that's always in the back of your mind. And you got to tell yourself, no, it won't, it's going to help you. So, I finally went to behavioral health in 2020, a year after the incident happened. Or, not a year, but like 9 months maybe. And I was going to behavioral health, and we were about to deploy, and leadership talked about leaving me behind. Solely because I was going to behavioral health. And also, I went to a group therapy. They put me in group therapy, and I hated that group therapy. So for some of those who do make fun of behavioral health, that think that soldiers go to get out of work or they're weak, I still don't think that completely. But there is a reason that stereotype is there, because I saw that, and you will see that if you go to group therapy. Most of these soldiers were 17 to 20-year-old PFCs, some specialists, and all they bitched about was how their team leader was mean to them. Sometimes, an NCO can go too hard on you, but you got to expect that when you join the Army, especially when you go to an airborne unit like the 82nd. And even if you're on one of the non-airborne units on Fort Bragg, it's fucking still the culture surrounding it it's still rough being there. And you got to expect that. And these dudes were bitching about this and that. And the therapist there was terrible, and I said, fuck this. I got up and I told the front desk, excuse me, I will not be returning. This therapy session was terrible. And my platoon sergeant pulled me in his office and said, why don't you want to go back? Hey man, just go back. So we set up just me and a BHO. And they said, how do we set up your care plan? And I started talking about Arangua. Then I started talking about my childhood trauma that I was deeply, deeply repressing. And man, that sucked. I didn't want to talk about that shit, but it was important to. And there was a bit of understanding, and then I told them, hey, my leadership wants me to stay behind on deployment. They said, wait a minute, because of behavioral health? I said, yeah, because of behavioral health. And this is where behavioral health was awesome. They said, dude, you cannot be, this isn't stopping you from deploying. You know that, right? There's just patients admitted here, or not admitted here, but are going here, and they're deploying. So they called my leadership and said, if you're going to deny him from deploying, it's not going to be for this. So I got called in my platoon office, and some slots opened up, and they said, we need to fill these slots. I think there was some hell to pay. Like, someone was denying me deployment because of behavioral health, and they were like, give him an opportunity. And I jumped on it. And apparently I found out that my platoon was defending me. They're like, we want him. And I confirmed this by talking to people. They said, no, we want to take him. We need him. I was willing to stay behind. Part of me wanted to go because that's what I signed up to do. But then I was like, no fucking way. If these guys want me, I better go. So I went. Iraq was interesting. Had some ups and downs, but it was a great experience, and I'm glad I went. Didn't see combat. Saw some fucked up shit. Then I went back, and then our new commander that took over, oh my god, that dude. So we were trying to, I had enough. As much as I love Second Platoon, I thought it was time for a change. That new CO, oh my god, man. The way he did shit, nobody wanted him there. Let me tell you how much of a piece of shit this commander was. People were graffitiing in towers. People were... I remember there was a chocolate cake. So someone was on Tower Guard and they delivered a chocolate cake. And somebody drew a picture of a dick on it with their finger. And he gave them an Article 15 for that. Meanwhile, passing in conversation, soldiers witnessed him freely saying the word fag and faggot. Oh, rules for thee, but not rules for me? Now, fuck you. So, as much as I love the platoon, I wanted nothing to do with that CO, so I decided to leave. I got in some trouble. If you guys saw my live stream about how me and Cowboy Dan got in trouble in Iraq, this followed that. I didn't get an article, but he considered barring me from re-enlistment, and that fucked me up. And I'll continue to talk about this, but first I need to take a break. Alright, and we're back. So, when my CO put in that he's recommending me for bar to re-enlistment, I was told, hey man, listen, he doesn't want to bar you, he just wants to talk to you. I went, alright. But still though, like, don't tell me something serious like that and tell me I have to wait for this amount of time, because I don't handle that shit very well. I remember one morning I was taking a shower and it was dawning on me. I was like, I wasn't suicidal, but I was heart pounding stress. I was in the shower and all of a sudden I looked at my hand. I was covered in blood. My nose was bleeding profusely. I went, wow, I'm really fucked up. And as I was going to Behavior Health, the rear D NCO pulled me in the office. And he said, hey man, you like going to Behavior Health? I'm like, hey dude, I just want to let you know. I had a buddy who went to Behavior Health for marriage counseling. And they denied him a drill sergeant packet because he went to marriage counseling. That started fucking with my head again. Like, whoa, now Behavior Health's affecting my career. Now it's not. Is it? Is it not? Is it? And going back and forth was just driving me insane. But then he said, mental health's super important. If it's helping you, keep going. So, at this time, me and my mother were not getting along. Like I told you, childhood trauma. My mother was just... My mother's crazy, and I don't know if she was purposely making shit worse or what, but she was. Whether she wanted to or not. And I texted her, I said, I'm done with you, my life's over, and I blocked her. And then I blocked all my brothers. I was just done with everybody. And because I did that, I got a knock on my door from my buddy Dude Gray. He's like, dude, he was freaking out. I'm like, are you alright? I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm alright. What's going on? And then NCO came to my room. And he was like, yo, what's going on? He's like, your mom. I'm like, yeah, what about my mom? She called the division commander. And I went, whoa. At the time, the division commander was then Major General Christopher Donahue, now Lieutenant General Christopher Donahue. And I was like, whoa. And he apparently called 2 Fury Rear D Sergeant Major and was like, yo, this is going on. Take care of this. And they took me to Walmack. Well, first, they're like, please call your mom. I called my mom, and she was like, I want to talk to them. I said, no. Then I went off on her in front of everybody, and I just kind of just told her all the stuff that, you know, she put me through as a kid and stuff. I just had it. I'm like, you literally made the situation worse than it was. To this day, I don't talk to my mother anymore. It was a good thing to push her out of my life. Some may disagree. Let me know in the comments what you think. And as I'm going to the hospital, my NCO was like, Joker, does this happen a lot with you and your mother? I'm like, yeah. He's like, hey man, you know, behavioral health's great. Instead of paying thousands for a therapist, you got this. I said, yeah. So I went to Walmart. I was like, hey, I'm good. They checked me. I was clear. They sent me home, and thank God we had a 4-day weekend. And I was not going to the fucking psych ward on a 4-day weekend. Shit. And, you know, one of my hobbies was photography, so I went out to Wilmington, and I saw the USS North Carolina, and I was taking pictures, and I went, you know, what if I get barred or enlistment? Who the fuck cares? At this time, I actually used the open door policy with the Rear D Battalion Commander, Major Beach. Holy shit, that dude was an excellent officer. Then I got a phone call from my NCO, Sergeant Bonnie. He's like, hey Shoker, listen, man. You're not getting barred to re-enlistment, and you're moving to DECO effective immediately. I went, whoa. I moved to DECO, and I told my new platoon sergeant, hey, man. Well, I didn't say hey, man, but I'm like, hey, sergeant. I am going to behavioral health. I'm not suicidal, nothing like this. Like, oh, let's go, man. I go to behavioral health, too. I said, oh, fuck yeah. And let me tell you, I was in 4th platoon. Love that platoon. It was such a good company. Within time being there, I got promoted to E5. Well, I got sent to the board. But before I got sent to the board, they said, fuck it. You're not going to the board. You're ghost boarded. Got my P status, and then I went to BLC, graduated, and then I went to the 101st because my platoon sergeant was in the 101st, and I was like, all right, let me go check this place out. Boy, was that a mistake. You already know. You guys saw the previous video. I made a huge mistake leaving the 82nd. I should have stayed there. And yeah. Oh, and to the guy in 2 Fury that said I got kicked out at BCO and DECO, no, that's not what happened. Now you know the truth. I PCS'd, and before that, I was moved by my request because I asked it. talk your shit, but talk your shit if you have your facts. If you don't, shut your fucking mouth, bitch. Alright, anyway. Go to Fort Campbell. And, you know, I already did a video on that. Go check it out. And then from 2021 to then, I refused to go to BH, refused to go to Behavioral Health, and it was good therapy I was getting. My BHO was a really good dude, but I guess just the thought of my childhood and what was going on there, I just wanted to repress it instinctively without even thinking. I was on a high horse again. I was getting promoted to sergeant. I got promoted to sergeant, and I was doing my dream job, which is being a team leader. 2023, I went back to Behavioral Health because of the Article 15 situation. I was falling apart. I was angry at everything. And finally, I just, I had enough. And, my autistic neighbor called the cops, said this guy's not doing good. Did he care? Yeah, but, I was willing to work with him. I said, hey, dude, I realized I just said some crazy shit to you. I don't want to go to the hospital, but here, do you want to take all of my guns from me? I was trying to work with him. I was like, you can take my guns. Like, I get it. I just said some concerning stuff. And then that dude was such a piece of shit. He was a little lying fuck. Nothing wrong with being autistic in the Army, but he used that as a crutch to just be weird and fucking annoy people and do what he wanted. Very entitled dude. Should have never talked to that dude to begin with. Blocked him after I went to the hospital. The cops were cool. They took me straight to Blanchfield, and oh my god. Called my NCOC, said, hey, I'm in the hospital. Put a gun to my head. I was in the hospital. He came in. Terrible fucking NCO. Fuck that dude. I'm not going to mention him by name for different reasons, but holy shit. He was a terrible fucking NCO. I hated that dude. He was just trash. In the hospital, he said, hey, maybe you're not meant for this. And then I wanted to get up and fucking beat his ass right then and there, but obviously, I'm in the hospital. I can't do that. I can't be violent. And that would just make my situation worse. I was already pending an Article 15. And this dude was, the behavioral health guy there was just in my face, shoving papers in my face. Why are you here? Why are you here? And I'm like, I can't. And when they kept pressing me, I didn't care that I needed to. I was not ready to talk about some things. And anybody here who goes to therapy knows, if you're not ready to talk about something, do not press somebody and interrogate them until they talk about it. How the fuck does that help them? So, I go to Cumberland. Cumberland's alright. Good hospital. It was basically an outpatient hospital that Blanchfield had. Stay there was good. The food was good. Therapy was nice. For the psychiatrist I had, for the individual therapy was good. But the group therapy, they brought some fucking retards in. Oh, you guys are going to struggle with mental health for the rest of your life. Don't tell someone in a crisis that for the rest of their life they're going to struggle. No, don't say that. If someone needs therapy for their entire life, maybe that person does. Some people need therapy for 6 months and they never go back to therapy again. You don't tell somebody that. Are you fucking kidding me? So, Cumberland's out. I go back. Right before I go back, I call my commander and I told him everything. I made a video about this in my time in the 101st about how the dude's trying to send me to a reduction board for some bullshit, and my CEO said, just so you know, man, you know this has got to go through me first, right? And apparently the board was shot down by him, and he thought it was ridiculous. I went, oh, okay. And apparently there was a lot of hatred for my NCO. Not necessarily about me. I don't know if it was about me or not, but he was just... My new replacing NCOIC picked me up. He said, hey, man, I support you. Mental health super important. My mom killed herself. It's just not okay. I went, oh. Driving back, him and the other E5. Good dude at heart, but I fucking hated this dude because he was such a pole smoker. Never shut his fucking mouth. Half the time I was with him, I wanted to fight him. But he had a good heart. I can't deny that. And he was like, yeah, fuck Sergeant so-and-so. I don't want to go to this duty station and be with him. And I'm thinking in my mind, whoa. If you don't like somebody, there's a chance that other people don't as well. Remember that. I can't say that enough. So, I remember all this, and my therapist was like, what happened? You were good for 5 years. You never had an attempt for 5 years. I said, yeah, I know. And she was a great therapist. She was like, hey, man, if you don't feel comfortable with answering a question, don't answer it, but don't you lie to me. I went, okay. One of the questions was, have you ever attempted suicide, yes or no? And I just said no. The reason is I'm not ready to talk about it with a new therapist right away. I'm not going to. I'm sorry. Again, if I'm not ready to talk about something, don't interrogate me. Don't fucking shove that shit down my throat. And she confirmed that. She was like, just, if you're not ready to talk about it, it's fine, but don't lie to me. I was like, there we go. And I was trying to leave Campbell quickly. They already took my 60 days of leave. And that fucking piece of shit battalion commander, fuck you, you fucking faggot, purposely did that. And I'm not the first nor the last that scumbag's done that to. Granted, he gave a cute female soldier 60 days of leave, but me, how? Why does he need that much leave? Yeah. Coincidentally, his wife left him because he's a fucking bitch, and he was probably taking that out on the whole battalion. But this video is about my behavioral health, not him. Just, fuck you, pussy. I told my therapist I gotta get out of Fort Campbell, and I'm telling you right now, if I stay here, if my orders get deferred and I stay here, I'm telling you right now, I will fucking kill myself. So she said, okay, I'm just trying to recommend that you go. And I did. I went to Bragg. Leave was so short. I needed time off, and I just didn't have it. I was so fucked in the head, man. I just couldn't deal with it. Moving back and forth, getting a storage unit, I just couldn't fucking deal with it. So, go to Bragg. As you all know, I did my series on toxic leadership. I want myself back up in behavior health and in the hospital, when the thing happened in the field. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch Toxic Leadership Part 1, 2, 3, and 4. They were more like, why do you have an issue with Taylor? And I'm like, why is this about her? Why isn't this about me? This behavior health is supposed to be about the person there. And why does she on first name basis is with my CO? I already went over that. And then on top of that, I was just falling apart. Behavior health turned on me, in my opinion, at that time. I was not in the headspace. As soon as I identified that behavior health was against me, with everything happening with my unit, I began having suicide ideation on a daily basis. There wasn't a minute that passed by that I wasn't thinking about ending my life. I gave up. I was done with living. Had my Article 15, and then the day after, initiated separation on me, and as you guys know, I attempted. As I'm in the hospital, I had my chapter assessment with the very shitty human being, Captain Basali, who put bullshit in my medical records that wasn't true, because she was best friends with my CO. Instead of, being a behavioral health officer that cared, but instead is a fucking bitch who steals tax dollar money to just have an easy office job in the military. And as long as you have that power, you're going to do people dirty that you want, And that's basically what I thought. I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. After I attempted again by overdosing on a bunch of pills. Went back to the hospital. And then I started getting interrogated. Did you threaten your CO? Did you threaten your CO? And I said, hold on a second. Why the fuck are you people asking me about this? Did you guys not give a fuck about me? And then my CO, from what my psychiatrist was telling me, kept telling Behavior Health that I threatened her. As you all know from my Article 15, it didn't happen. I just called her a dumb bitch. That's what I got charged with. But she kept lying and manipulating people around her because she definitely has borderline personality disorder, and that's what they do. And just kept pressing it. I had enough. I put myself in a shitty situation. I deserved to get demoted. But I needed help, and she knew I was vulnerable. It was almost like she wanted me to try to attempt again. So I immediately left that session. I said, we're done here. I called Inspector General and I filed a complaint against Captain Graziano in the Behavioral Health Clinic, the Robson Behavioral Health Clinic, and I told them I will not be returning to Robson Behavioral Health ever again. And then I sat down with, this dude was an up-and-coming PA. He was a former Special Forces medic, and he was deeply concerned because he would just listen to my CO talk about me in the morning meetings. And he was like, how is she this bad? And then he said, so why do you want to move clinics? I said, because. Is the whole clinic back? No. I had a great relationship with Mr. Nash, my therapist at the time. But these BHOs are choosing to gossip about me with my CO and spread shit. Why are they getting involved in my Article 15 case? The only thing they should be involved in is my care and maybe informing them if I'm a threat to myself or others. That's all behavioral health can share with anybody. But they were gossiping about me back and forth. I'm not giving them that power anymore. So they called me in. They were talking. They said, we believe you. Apparently Womack themselves found out about it. You know, they were talking in a meeting with the Womack Behavioral Health Chain of Command, who is in charge of Robinson, West, East Liberty, all the behavioral health clinics on Fort Liberty, and said, you're being mistreated. And we agree with you, so we're going to move you to any clinic you choose. And I decided to help them out. I said, move me to any clinic that's not Robinson. I prefer West Liberty because it's really close to where I work. You know, this other clinic's all the way across Post. She said, okay, great. And when I moved to that clinic, my new therapist, he had some issues, but he wasn't bad. He said, just so you know, Robinson sends us people that they think are a problem. But lo and behold, when I get them, they're just fine. In the crisis of my life, when I wasn't no bitch, man. I didn't take 4 sleeping pills and say I tried to kill myself, alright? I almost died. I OD'd. I was in psychosis. I had to be watched for 3 days because I was under psychosis. I almost bled to death. To this day, I have fucking nerve damage in this arm because I severed a nerve that can't be reattached. I tried to die. And the way they were treating me, like, oh yeah, no, he's... like I was being a bitch, like I was trying to get attention, like my commander's this saint. I had enough, so went back to the platoon. As a specialist, they just kind of had me doing my own thing, which was kind of nice. They were trying to chapter me. I was waiting for my set board, and Silva, buddy of mine in 3rd Platoon, Red Devils, was like, yo, dude. So what's going on, man? They're trying to separate me, but because I've been in 6 years, I got a set board. Oh, really? Yeah, that's coming up soon. I don't know how it's going to go, but we'll see. He's like, okay. And then all of a sudden, one of the team leaders got up, ran upstairs, and he kind of made a scene about it. About 9:30, I got called in the CO's office. And this has been long overdue. I haven't played this for you guys yet. But, I wanted to play this on my podcast. I sent this to them, but it didn't happen. So I'm going to play this recording for you guys real quick. So when I got called to the CO's office, this is what my commander had to say.
There's these 4 events, and then the platoon's going to have one person doing an event, and that only one event.
it has been brought to my attention that your separation process has been you've been freely telling people about it, whether it's staff duty or random people in your platoon or the company. So I'm going to limit that. So your company commander, giving you a direct order that you can only discuss your separation process with your chain of command, meaning squad leader, platoon sergeant, platoon leader, me, first sergeant, the battalion commander, etc., all the way up, and your defense, or any brigade legal asset. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you have any questions about it?
Say that one more time. This one right down.
Okay.
Shit. That's broken. I'm ready.
Okay. You are only allowed to discuss your separation process with your chain of command, so squad leader, platoon sergeant, platoon leader, first sergeant, company commander, if you want to go higher, battalion commander, sergeant of frame, brigade commander, anyone in your chain of command, and your defense attorney, and any brigade legal asset that you would think. So you can go talk to Major Ulrich, you can go Gavin Hall Legal, you can go to your civilian lawyer. You should not be speaking to staff duty about it. You should not be talking to Private Silva about it.
Specialist Silva.
Anyone
No respect for
that
rank.
is outside of your chain of command. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Who was also
Okay.
a team leader at that time.
Also, been brought to my attention that we're
And listen to this.
drinking a lot of caffeine.
Goddamn
doing
right I
things
am.
like this. Is that true?
Yes, ma'am.
What is the purpose behind it?
What's this out? I drink caffeine all the time.
Okay, if it's over 1,000 milligrams, and I'm hearing about it, I'm a little concerned.
I'm concerned.
Not
No,
only
he doesn't
for
give
your
a fuck.
safety and because it is like a high risk behavior.
It's a
and
high risk
also
behavior.
Because it's just not healthy. So I would please ask you to watch your caffeine intake. Let's not go over 1,000 milligrams. I think that's probably a safe limit. I think that's a very high limit. I'm only saying this because we care about your safety and your health. I know that it's bad in the long run. I don't know the ramifications of if I take 3,000 milligrams of caffeine, I don't know what
And when
happens
she
to you.
said that, I took that as a challenge.
Let's limit it, please. Not in order, just me as a person caring about you as a person.
I'll take that recommendation, man.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
I'll
be
take that
careful, okay?
recommendation.
Do you have any questions?
That's it, man.
Okay. Then I don't need anything else. I hope you have a great weekend.
Thank you, man.
So, I don't remember receiving a counseling at that time stating, hey, you will not talk about this process, period. If I did and I just kind of blanked it out, my bad. I'll take responsibility for that. But I do not fucking remember that. I did not remember getting sat down by my PSG saying, you will not talk about this with anybody. What I got from that meeting and why I recorded that, I knew something like that was going to be said, so I wanted to record it so no one could say I was fucking lying. I knew that there were people the battalion did not want her there, and the few people that did like her, so I believe one of the behavioral health, not behavioral health, one of the staff duty officers while I was on extra duty snitched on me. He could have said something to me, could have been a fucking leader and said something to me, but he decided to go to my commander. You know, if you really have an issue, buddy, correct the issue there. That's what I would have done as an NCO, but I guess, the new generation of pretentious officers just loves to fucking be a bunch of bitches and do stuff like that. And the McCaffeine thing. So, what that was about, there was a platoon sergeant in BCO named Sergeant First Class Worley, great dude. We had a company store, and I remember I bought energy drinks. I usually try to keep the limits between Bangs and Reigns, and the store usually sold Bangs. No, Reigns. And I would drink two. And I drank my second one, and he said, how many of those have you had? I'm like, this is my second one today. He's like, that's a lot of caffeine. I said, sorry, when I was in Iraq, I used to drink 3 of these a day. He's like, that's not good. And my thought was, does this motherfucker think I can't handle it? You gotta remember, the dudes I grew up with the previous 5 years was Caffeine, nicotine, and hate. That's what fuels the American infantry. Like, were you fucking kidding me? So one day I went up to him. I said, yo, Sergeant Worley, what's up? I drank 1,100 milligrams of caffeine. I felt fine. And he went, oh. So then he told the CO about that. So with those dudes being said, my commander called a meeting. Why didn't that team leader correct me? Why didn't he pull me aside and say, don't talk about this shit? What the fuck was going on? Why were you guys letting a problem happen? Why not inform me you will not talk about this? That's my first question. I just knew that this stupid shit was going on. My pussy platoon sergeant was probably behind it too. That's also what I suspected, so I recorded that. I sent that to my father. My father played it and texted me back, what a bitch! What was awesome is how much my family supported me through this whole thing. My dad's like, get the fuck out of the Army. Get away from that bitch. This woman's so fucking immature. And frankly, I got hospitalized for abusing caffeine. I was then released the same day, or the next day. The reason I was admitted in the first place was because of my previous suicide attempts. Like, they were pretty brutal. Otherwise, I would have never been admitted in the first place. Walking in the hospital, the nurse at the ER was like, this isn't even a thing, though. What the... And they were just like... Well, that's what my CO does. She thinks with her emotions instead of her logic. Played the recording for my therapist. He said, you can't record people. I don't fucking care, dude. Then they tried to schedule a BH appointment for me on the day of my board without telling me. I said, why do I... Well, they did tell me, but they didn't talk to me about it. I was like, why? It was Captain Graziano who did it. A guy who I filed an IG complaint against. You know, one of the dudes that I suspect those two were fucking. I could be wrong. I don't want to say she was fucking everybody, but the amount of people that were willing to do shit that was maybe ethically or morally wrong was a little concerning. So, I don't know. I'll leave that interpretation up to you guys. Yeah, they were... Once I moved clinics, behavioral health kind of... At least the guys at Robinson lost a bit of their power. Like, I was at a new clinic. My therapist was very much, you have a personality disorder. You have a personality disorder. And I was like... No, dude. No, I fucking don't have a personality disorder. Come on now. I just kind of sat there. I was going to argue with him. I was on my way out anyway. So I left the Army. And it was nice. I was free. I was like, there's no way I don't have to go back again. And even now that I've been out since May. It's November now. It's fucking crazy, dude. I've been out 6 months and like, I still wake up thinking I gotta go to PT. And I don't. I'm growing my hair out. I gotta get a fucking haircut. I just think it's fucking crazy. But the experience fucked me up. I started having nightmares. Started struggling. So I went to the regional VA hospital in Philly. Sat down with behavioral health there. And that leaves me with, where's behavioral health now? They said, bro, you don't have a personality disorder. This sounds like somebody knew somebody and they wanted to fuck with you. Or do a favor for somebody, basically. Would you like therapy? Would you like psychiatry? I'm like, just therapy. I don't want to be on pills. And then I had a therapy appointment recently, and formally I was diagnosed with depression and PTSD. And frankly, with everything, I finally accepted I agree with that. And he said, again, you don't have a personality disorder. Now therapy is working for me. Am I struggling as bad as I was the past few months? No, and I'm glad of that. So the question is why am I making this video for you guys? My roommate committed suicide. And I can only imagine what was going through his mind. Did he think that behavioral health was just going to ruin his career and he'll never get a chance at going to SF selection or PSYOP selection again? And you know what? Maybe. And then some of the experiences I went through kind of proved that. But also disproved that as well. And I started my YouTube channel because of it. I also always wanted to be a YouTuber, but if you guys are struggling, go get help. If you want anonymous therapy in the military, you can pay for it yourself. Go to BetterHelp. There's people who do it all the time. If you don't want to pay for it, you have OneSource. You have the Crisis Hotline. They work. I've used them. But my point is, guys, get the help you need. I'm not making excuses. I put myself in a bad situation. My commander definitely didn't like me for the comments I said about her, and that's fine. I deserve to be demoted. I deserve an Article 15. I was not against any of that. But there was so much rumor spreading and assumptions that made its way to places it shouldn't have been, where it should have stopped, where they should have identified that they were rumors. And it fucked with me to a point that it led to my second brutal suicide attempt. And if you guys know, I was planning a third suicide attempt. Well, never again. I'm here. I'm a soldier for life. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. I'm a free man. And nobody will take away who I am. I don't know what my future holds for me. I'm planning on trying to get back in the military. I've been talking to some recruiters lately. I might need to wait a little longer. I might be able to get a waiver. I don't know. But we'll see. If you need support, go into the comment section. Give me your Instagram. Give me your Snapchat, whatever you go with. I'll talk to you. I can be there. I care about service members. That's why I'm making this video. Behavioral health, when it works, it fucking works. We don't need people like Captain Graziano, Captain Pasali fucking it up for people. Look at the BHOs I had in 2019, 2020, and even 2021. The only conversations my CO had with them was, hey, how's my soldier? Is he suicidal, homicidal? Nope. Okay, good. You think he's stable? Yeah, that's it. Is my soldier okay? Does he need further help? And then not wondering what we're talking about in behavioral health, not gossiping about me. It's happened and it's worked for me. And frankly, that's how it should be. It didn't happen for me until toward the end. And I want to make sure that doesn't happen to anybody else. I hope my experiences help you guys. I'm not trying to be pay attention to me. I want attention. I need to be valued. I hope I'm not giving that off. If I am, I guess call me a bitch in the comments section. I'm sure somebody will. But I hope this will inform you. I hope this will help you. And I hope you guys hit your goals that you need. Thank you.